I'm going to try and reassemble this Cricket receiver on camera. Some of the shots may not be the best because it's going to be difficult to hold it where you can see it. We're going to start off with the cocking lever. So we've got our two little washers and our cocking lever, and we have our little pin here. You want to make sure all these are good and clean. You can put a slight little film of grease on everything. So I put one little washer on there, and I'm going to put another, or after I put the cocking arm on. So you can just try and set the washer on top of the cocking arm. From there you can take an Allen wrench or a toothpick and just feed it along. Just slide it along the top until you can get it pushed in there. It's a little tedious, but it's not too bad. Now I'm taking this Allen wrench and I'm going to push it down through, and hopefully, and I think I did, I have everything lined up in there. Pretty close. So now I'm going to take the pin, make sure it's clean, and I'm going to drop it in there. Wiggle things around until it sits flush in the hole. So now that's put back in. Okay, so now the next thing you have to do is you have to take your bolt probe, and it's got that hole in it. You have to slide it on in there, and you want that hole facing down, because your pin has to go straight up into that hole. And you can see it. I don't know if you can see it in there or not, but you can see, I can see that hole in there. So I'm going to take an Allen wrench and just push that back in there a ways. Now you have to push it back far enough where you can install that pin on the back side of this piece here, because remember we have to pull that away to slide the pin behind it. So I'm going to push that back there a ways. Okay, now what I got to do is I have to put the pin up through, which I guess I can install that in on the outside first. Now, this is where it's going to be tricky on camera, because you kind of have to have this laying flat or upside down. We're going to try upside down, maybe that'll make things easier on camera. So now that pin's in there, I have to take this little piece here, the little, kind of like a little bearing piece, and I'm going to push it and try and get it into the slot. Okay, so now it's in the slot, and I can see the hole in the bolt probe, and I've got it kind of sitting right over that hole. So now what I'm going to do is grab my little pliers, and I'm going to pick up on that pin just enough to where I can rotate the lever over top of the little washer. Oops. Oh, okay. It didn't work out. little thing is kind of magnetic and it's stuck. Alright, there we go. So now I'm going to hold the pin. I'm going to just get it started through the arm. And then hopefully get it slid down into that little bushing. Got it. Okay, so now once I find the hole in the probe, I can keep pushing. And hopefully get it pushed all the way down into the probe. There it went. Need to go a little farther. Okay. So now I'll just try and leave it upside down, see how that works. Now I gotta pull this away and slide the pin behind it, and it kind of snaps behind it. So now everything's all locked into place. So now that pin can't fall out because it hits this right here. So now what we have to do is we'll pull this all the way back. Now we have our little spring to take care of right here. So I'm going to try and grab it with the little needle nose pliers and stretch it over that little pin. And there's a little groove in there. So now, and with that spring on there, you can really hear the roughness that's in these grooves right here. And I kind of, in my disassembly video, I went over what that roughness is causing. You know, the roughness that you feel on the cocking lever. Once the spring pressure of the hammer's on it, it really magnifies it. Okay, so from here we need to reinstall our magazine index piece. Just a nice one-piece unit. This little hole right here, right there on top of the little spring pin, that locates on this pin right here. Or excuse me, on the pin down here. This one here is what goes through this slot. So we'll just slide that in. And it kind of snaps into place. Then you just have to install your little cap screw into this hole up here. Tighten that down. Just snug it, and it's pretty small so it won't take much. Okay, now from here we have to install first the washer onto this pin right here. Then this goes on there like that, and you can just kind of flex this piece down. Again, this is kind of tricky. It actually probably help if I move that back. So I'll move that back a ways, and then you have more room to deal with the little spring-loaded magazine piece. So now that's installed. So now you can see it's working properly. From here we just need to install the side cover. Now, I've had an issue before where the side cover being put on puts pressure on this system, and it didn't quite work properly once I snugged the screws down. And what I ended up doing was, to help with that, because I wasn't exactly sure what caused it, the washer that we just put on behind that one piece, the magazine index piece, the washer behind here, basically there's a little piece right there, that little pin sticking up. It was rubbing on the inside of my cover. You can see the scratch marks. And I took that washer out and I sanded it flat because there was some burrs on it. And then that seemed to help. You could probably also sand that off, but I didn't know if that was keeping the little pin from coming out or not, so I left that alone. So if you run into that problem, that's what I did to take care of it. I mean, also you want to make sure you don't tighten those screws down too tight, because I mean they're tiny and it'd be easy to strip something out. So we got the short screw goes in the back, long screw goes in the front. Just snug them down. And I check mine periodically when I'm out and about or shooting, just to make sure that stuff's not backing out. So check that and it works properly. Okay, so now we want to install our hammer. Oops. Give it a push. Take a small Allen wrench and we'll push down on this. Or wait, we'll close the bolt. Okay, so basically I just push down on the front. I don't know if this is like the sear down in there, but you can see through the trigger, or through the hole. That's what I'm pushing down when I push down to allow the hammer to go all the way in. It's still not all the way in at this point. Then what you do is you pull the trigger lever there, and it'll allow your hammer to go all the way in. You'll know it's all the way in when you can see it almost flush. So now that that's in, we can put our spring in. Just put a little pressure on there. And you can reinstall that wherever it is it was, or you prefer it to be. And there. And there's the reassembly.